Ahoy, vinyl enthusiasts, music lovers, and everyone in between. My name is Isaac. This is The Blind Island, and today I'm hitting you up with the first vinyl finds of March 2021. Yeah, these are some things that I picked up in the past couple of weeks. Some were there at the tail end of February, and things that I picked up too here at the beginning of March. Nothing crazy in here. Some things that I was looking for to fill gaps in the collection. And then a couple of things that, I think were really, really important to have. And nothing that's like grail status, but really cool things and kind of a varied collection this time. So look forward to showing you what we got. First, we're starting off with Bob Dylan, Infidels. Now, this is a Dylan album that's not really one of my favorites, but it is one that was missing in the collection. Most notably known for being produced by Mark Knopfler of Dire Straits. I just feel as though the production value on here is not very conducive to Dylan's sound. That's why I'm really glad in his later albums he decided to just produce himself. He knows his sound, he knows what he likes to sound like. But there are still some really good tunes on here. I really enjoy the song Sweetheart Like You, Man of Peace, I and I. There are some really good moments on here. It's just not one of my favorite Dylan records. So, glad to have it in the collection though. Good to round it out. And then what we got playing on the table right now, and a recommendation from one of my favorite channels on YouTube, Deep Grooves through Paramount Records. This is David Bromberg, his first album, I believe, and this is a fantastic blues folk album. Very, very good. I thoroughly enjoyed Dave's playing on here, and his rendition of Delia on here is so good. And you can pick this up super cheap. I finally found a clean copy for $1.99. The sleeve is a little beat, but the vinyl is perfect. So yeah, you can pick these up really, really cheap, and it's a great record. Highly recommended. And then another one found in the bargain bins was Chick Corea, Return to Forever. This is the 1975 ECM release in the US, and this is such a phenomenal album. It is the beginning of Chick Corea's Return to Forever period, and it's a lot more stretched out, drawn out. Flora Purim's vocals on here are nice light touches, and it's just a beautiful album. If you can find a copy of this for under $10, I highly suggest that you do it. And even if it's more so, I highly suggest it. It's not a very expensive album. It may rise in price as a chick just recently passed away, but really happy to have this one in the collection. Then next I have Ann Peebles, The Handwriting is on the Wall. This is, I believe, Ann Peebles' final recording for the High record label, and I've seen some pretty middling reviews on this record, but Ann Peebles has just one of the greatest soul voices of the 1970s, just a solid slab of funk soul. And I'm going to include a little snippet of a needle drop here so you can get a taste of what Ann is all about. Next, I have the Bernie Nero Trio on the Mode Records label. I love this record label. I think that they had some fantastic pressings. Was only pressing really in the late 50s, early 60s. Then it went defunct, came back as the VSOP label. I really enjoy this album. I did not know this when I purchased it, but Bernie Nero actually went on to go under a different stage name, Peter Nero. And this is his very first record, and it's a very nice, light jazz album. Just good piano trio. It's nothing that's going to be really rocking the socks off, but this is perfect dinner candlelight music. And if you're looking for a nice introductory jazz album, this is a really good place to start. I would really enjoy recommending this to anybody who's looking to getting into jazz, and I'm very, very much looking to collect this record label. I just love the illustrations that were on them, and it's a really nice record label, so really cool to have this one. Next, I have The Times. Go with The Times. The Times was a group that came out during the mod revival in the 80s. I know that this particular album came out in 1985, but it was actually recorded in 1979 and 80. So a lot of the tunes on here have a ramshackle demo feel to them, and you can definitely hear the influence of groups like The Jam upon their sound. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I picked it up in a sale bin for $4.99, and I know that there aren't many copies left of this. This is a reissue, 2018 reissue. Most are coming from overseas, so I was really happy to find a copy of this for so cheap. And I'm going to include a little bit of a needle drop so you can get a taste of what this sounds like too. Next, I have Eric von Schmidt. Eric Sings von Schmidt. I think that this guy is one of the most underrated folk artists of the 60s. I know that his music is lauded, but he's just not known. People don't know about this guy, even though he was a huge influence on Bob Dylan and his sound in the early 60s, and ran in the same circles as a lot of his early Newport folk people, and was good friends with Dave Van Ronk. I thoroughly enjoy this record. Super, super good stuff. I find his blending of folk and blues to be very intoxicating, and I was able to pick up this record for super cheap, $5.99. It usually goes for around $15, $20, but that's if it's a super clean copy. This one has a little damage to it. So in the needle drop I'm about to give you, there's some snaps and crackles, but to me, this folk blues, it really adds to the music. So give a listen, see if you would want to listen to Eric von Schmidt.
You know, there's two losers. Oh yeah, the track, cast a check. Okay.
Next, I have Charles Mingus. Mingus plays piano. This I got off of Discogs for an insanely cheap copy, $8. This one has quite a bit of background noise on it. It's a good player for now until I get a mint copy, but it is an original on the Impulse label, and I am just so happy to have this. Mingus is probably my favorite jazz player of all time, and by far my favorite jazz composition writer. He just has this crazy mind that really released so many interesting ideas. I love this album, and I'm looking forward to getting a better copy of this one day, but in the meantime, I have this original that I can still play and love. Next, I have a Chick Corea, the Song of Singing. This is an original on the Blue Note label, and this one is a little bit more on the avant-garde side of things. He is joined in a trio setting with Dave Holland and Barry Altschul. And Dave Holland was an avant-garde writer in his own right, and it's a very nice free jazz album. I think as far as free jazz records are concerned, it's very listenable, and you never lose the beauty of Chick's piano playing, and I'm really happy to have an original two-tone Blue Note copy in the collection. Next is a 1972 reissue of Dolly Parton's Just Because I'm a Woman. Picked this one up super cheap, and these early pressings and early records of Dolly Parton are becoming almost impossible to find. I was super happy to pick up a copy of this for as cheap as I did. It was only $6, and these early records of Dolly Parton's are just so classic. She has such a wonderful, warm timbre about her voice, and I love this record and Dolly Parton. Still looking to fill out my Parton collection, and this was a nice added addition. And another one that I've seen around before and was happy to find a clean copy of vinyl was Bedlam, self-titled. The only record ever released by this group. This is an original white label promo copy, and I got this one for very cheap because someone put a sticker on here and damaged the front cover. I don't know why people do that, but this is a really solid 70s blues rock with a psychedelic bend, and I love that cover. I love that album artwork, and it was kind of a bit of a gamble. I was going based off of things I had seen in the past and just the album artwork, and I was not disappointed. And finally, I'm going to be wrapping it up with one of my favorite country duos of all time. I picked up 2 albums by them, and the first is My Baby's Gone by the Leuven brothers. This is an original on the Starline strand of the Capitol label, and man, just the Leuven brothers have one of the closest and near harmonies of all time in any genre, really. And I love this record. I love everything they ever put out. Loreen on here is an especially great tune, and I love that album artwork. It really captures that forlorn feeling of you losing your partner, and this is such a great country record. Very recommended. And finally, this is what I've been spinning the most of recently. I love this record in my top 100 favorite albums of all time, and that is Satan is Real by the Leuven brothers. And this is the 2011 reissue. These are even hard to come across now. The cheapest copy on Discogs is $60, and I was able to find one at Paramount Records for only $24. They are out of print, and I was so happy to find a nice copy of this. I have been looking for an original, but in the meantime, this reissue is going to be my daily rider, my daily player, and it is so good. Like, the sound quality on it is high, and it is a Light in the Attic reissue, and they always have the best reissues. Really enjoy this album, and I love that album artwork. They really did have some good covers, and I am so happy to have this record in the collection. Fantastic pickup. Alright guys, so that is the first part of Vinyl Finds for March 2021. What did you think? Any records in here that you want in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I hope that you guys have a great day on your own personal oasis. Cheers.